Hello there, and thanks for stopping by. For the next 5 minutes, instead of what you should be doing, we can talk about Arjen Robben's Bayern bust-up, fists of fury in Florence, and 1 or 2 milestones in Spain. That's where we'll begin. Last week was a record-breaking one in the Liga with, for the first time in ages, no records broken. This week, though, thankfully, it's back to normal with Real Madrid bagging the title in Bilbao. Hey, a Bilbao baggings. Scoring their 115th goal of the season, that's a record. And meanwhile, Leo Messi claiming his 68th goal of the season, setting a brand new all-time European high for most scoring strikes in one campaign. Well, guess which of those stories the Madrid press chose to cover and which the Catalans? Spot on. Here's Marca from Madrid. El mejor, the best. Sub-headline there, hands off you pros. Jose having a wonderful time as he gets carried in honour by his team. Meanwhile, over at AS, the story too big for the front page. Excuse me while I spread my ass here. Takes both hands. Campeones, campeones, they say across the front and back page. Real, quite possibly going to end up with a record points total in the Liga. 2 games to go, of course. Meanwhile, over in Catalonia, it's Messi who takes top billing. King of goal, says Sport. Yet another hat-trick for the Argentine, taking him, as mentioned, to 68 goals for this season, breaking Gerd Muller's 40-year-old European record. Torpedo, Messi, says El Mundo, echoing Muller's old nickname. Now, both papers do dedicate a corner of their cover to Real Madrid, but only to highlight Cristiano Ronaldo celebrating Real's title by giving an up yours to Bilbao's Javi Martinez. Here is Sport. El Madrid campeón, Madrid are champions. Cristiano is unhinged. The paper reporting that he points to the space on his shirt where the league champions badge is going to go, but Javi replies, don't celebrate too much. I'm a World Cup champion and you're not, clown. Indeed. Well, loads more Spanish headlines we probably could look at. Van Persie, Drogba and Torres, they're all crazy to come to Catalonia, but we'll have plenty more of that to come in the weeks that will follow. Right now, let's move on to a big story in the German papers, transfer related as well. Arjen Robben out of Bayern because he hates Frank Ribery. Robben, it emerged last Friday, broke off contract talks with the German clubs after a reported fistfight with Frank at half-time of their Real Madrid semi-final first leg. The players apparently falling out over who was supposed to take a free kick. So much for that rock, paper, scissors thing, eh? Well, Robben out of Bayern, screamed Bild. Arjen apparently unhappy with the lack of backing received from the club over the incident, in which, says the paper, Ribery hit him to the secret delight of their teammates. Italian press already touting Robben for a potential move to Turin, but hold on because here is Franz Beckenbauer in Bild again saying he will be staying. Bayern is Robben. Sort of Marxist take on things. Property is theft. Right. Well, anyway, let's move on now from Ribery's red mist to, this time, Florence, where fists are also a-flying after a scene this week that was described in the Italian press as without precedent. Wednesday night, anyway, the Artemio Franchi Stadium in Florence, Fiorentina taking on Novara. After 30 minutes, with the home side 2-0 down to their relegation-bound visitors, Fiorentina manager Delio Rossi takes off the young Serbian striker Adam Ljajic. Ljajic responds by doing that ironic applause thing that players like and gives his manager a thumbs up. At which point, Delio Rossi dives into the dugout, slaps the player in the face, grabs him by the throat and then rains down blows repeatedly with his right until he's eventually dragged off by 1 or 2 other stunned members of the team. Rossi then climbs back out and stands in the technical area as if nothing had happened. And the game continues, with the home support hailing their manager as a hero, singing, Delio, kick them all up the bum. Oh, Frankie says war, in a very real sense. Well, the club themselves took a rather dimmer view of his behaviour and fired Delio Rossi straight after the final whistle. The paper's stunned on Thursday morning. Gazzetta dello Sport, it's not Delio Rossi, it's Delirio Rossi. Fiorentina seemed to be the Wild West. Corriere dello Sport's Tuscan edition, Stadio, says Rossi fired. It's incredibile, they say. It's pazzesco, crazy. There's no justification for his behaviour, nor is there a precedent. This is simply the latest signal of a sport that has now gone out of control. Well, Rossi has now received a 3-month ban from the Italian FA, and with his dismissal, of course, we're now up to 19 managers fired in Serie A this season. Nice to see it's not just the Spanish setting records, eh? Well, there you go then. Loads of stories featuring fists this week, none of which were in AS, thankfully. And that brings us to the end of this week's roundup. We'll have more in 7 days' time, so hopefully we'll see you next Friday.